Very strict in the grade school and even in high school. They gave me what you might have called corporal punishment. You know, in this day, they had a strap. They whipped children. And some of the parents, you got whipped at school, got back home. If your parents knew you were disobedient, you got another one, you got back home from school. So they had a very strict disciplinary system. You didn't talk, you didn't play, you didn't throw spitballs, you got your lesson. It was very strict. And it wasn't very much delinquency like you have today. It was quite different. Children were concerned about getting the education, and the parents were concerned about the children getting it because they needed it when they got out. The facilities for learning were very slim. You know, when they had too many facilities, you went to school to learn. A few recreation advantage. It wasn't like it is now. You had to pay for everything you got when we went to school. And when I finished school, we were coming out of the Depression, and the economy was kind of bad at that particular time. President Roosevelt, things just been elected in office, and things began to pick up. But we had some tough times when I was in school, but I realized the value of an education, and my parents did also, and I realized today. And incidentally, I hadn't thought of it, but those three memorials that I built, I hadn't thought of it, but they were for educators, for teachers. And they taught in the local school system, so they made quite an impression upon me.
A lot of notable people have graduated from Burt. Or went to
Yes,
Burt.
really have, a lot of them have. I guess the most notable one is Dr. Robert T. Burt, whom the school was named from. And he built the first hospital in Clarksville, white or black. And we were in a segregated society at that particular time. And I guess he had an office downtown on Main Street. And he treated about as many, I guess, white as he did black in his office. I went to him one time.
Oh, you knew him?
Uh-huh. And he's a very good doctor. And incidentally, he was a minister. Well, he was a member of St. Peter's AME Church. And I had a grandfather who was a janitor at that particular church. And when he died, they had his funeral there. He had to work that day, and he had trained me how to toll the bell. He used to toll the bell. They had a church bell. They still have that bell in St. Peter's Church. And they toll the bell on Sunday morning to say to come to church and at funerals. And it was a distinct honor. I hadn't thought of it at the time when Dr. Burt was funeralized. I tolled the bell when they were bringing his body into the church when they carried it out, going to the cemetery. And I had an idea really that came to me. I guess I'm what you call an optimist. And I'm not much of a pessimist. Maybe at times I might be. But I had a suggestion. We live in a different day and a time. He did a great thing in building. We're building a new 270-bed hospital in Clarksville. We have a monument that was built in honor of a young lady, Ms. Wilma Rudolph, track star. And her monument's on Riverside Drive. And I said, I'm going to bring up the suggestion that when that new hospital is built, that a monument be built and purchased by the citizens of Clarksville, put in the vestibule of that hospital, letting the people everywhere know that a black man built the first hospital in Clarksville, Tennessee. I think it'll go.
I think that'd be very appropriate.
So I'm gonna push it. And,
I hope it works out.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that would be very appropriate.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me look at my notes. Y'all, did you go to any of the dances at Burt High School?
No, I didn't attend dances too much. I was raised in a Pentecostal church, and we were against dancing, drinking, and smoking. Those things I didn't participate in, and I was trained from that.
Did you go to any of the ball games?
I went to some of the ball games, the basketball games, football games. I was a mascot at times from their football games. We lived, at that time, the school system was segregated, and the Burt school, they didn't have a football field to play football on. They had to use the school where the white kids used when they wouldn't have enough. And they didn't have proper uniforms. I often tell people they got the hand-me-down uniforms. They didn't get a uniform. They got the old uniform from the white school ball players and gave them to the black ball players to play in. I came through that era too, and I survived. And it's a different day now.
Different day.
But I did experience it. And a lot of children don't know about that. They played at a place called Mertland Field. That's close by the school.
Where is Martin Field?
It's,
I've heard of it.
It's off of Greenwood Avenue. I don't know what street it turned off of Greenwood Avenue. They have a
It's Martin Field. It's
where the senior citizen
Yeah,
place is
yeah,
built.
Yeah, that's it.
They have a
That's it.
senior citizen center there now.
I was trying to think. I
Not a
know
very
I-
large place, but Clark was a small community at that
Yeah.
time, you know. There wasn't too many people.
You remember what the population of Clarksville was? Probably wasn't.
No, I
Things
don't, but
went down?
it was very small. It was very small. Very small.
What do you think the legacy? Well, first of all, Burt High School closed due to the integration. When integration
Right.
came in. That forced Burt High School to close.
Mm-hmm.
Which personally, I don't understand that, but, what's the legacy you think of Burt High School? What impact did it have on this community?
I think it had a great impact on the citizen of Clark, because many of the graduates of Burt High School, they had been very successful. They were off, and they came back to make a difference. I didn't have a complete formal college education, but I attended college. I took college courses, and even when I was in the Army, I was in World War II. And after the war was over, the Army had a school, United States Armed Forces Institute. Now, I was planning on going to business. It was predicted in graduation I would be in business. I was a business manager in my class. I ordered the robes and the rings and the invitations for the members of my class. Ordered by my teacher, Ms. Hattie Collins. That was another good teacher too, Hattie Collins, high school teacher, English teacher. And I was planning on going into business. So after the war was over, I took that course in business, and I was interested in real estate. I was interested in coming back to, as I say, we lived in a segregated society. The area that I lived in was a rundown area. Houses with dilapidated houses. People had livestock outside bathrooms and so forth and so on. It's kind of deplorable condition. And I wanted to make a difference. And so after I got out of the Army, I went to go to school to take up become a building contractor. And the GI Bill was available, but still that was on a segregated basis also, because the schools were segregated. You couldn't go to school at that particular time. And I met a girl from Madisonville, Kentucky, when I was in service in 1944, and I came back to Madisonville, and the government, I couldn't go to the trade school in my neighborhood. I had 2 pieces of property, I was paying taxes, but I couldn't go to school in that neighborhood. And most of my taxes went to support those schools. And I couldn't go, but the government approved a black contractor. And he gave me a set of tools and another young man, and we took on-the-job training, so I learned how to build houses, lay bricks, and so forth. And when he died, I took the phone book. I tried to find someone to go into business with, and I don't know, something, I picked out the biggest, I didn't know it, the biggest real estate realtor in Madisonville, Kentucky. He's a white fella. I had a piece of property, and I told him what I wanted to do, and he agreed. He gave me $1,000. I started building a house,
Isn't that something?
and I sold it to a young couple for let's see, $12,000, and I lent them the down payment. They didn't have the down payment. I lent them the down payment for it. And that house is worth, I think he told me a few years ago, it's about over $70,000.
Oh, my.
I put stone rocks on the front of it. But I have been interested in building, and I built quite a number of houses in, it's a coal mining town, small town in Kentucky. I built quite a number of houses there, and churches. And I was estimating sometime in my lifetime, I built and repaired close to 2,000 houses, 20 churches. I did a lot of church building and repairing. And so I came back to Clarksville to work in that capacity also. And so I served on various committees after I came back. At that time, housing was segregated here in Clarksville. And but that was broke down. We had quite a bit of trouble during those troubled times when everything was segregated. We had riots and so forth and so on. And I had a part in that problem because they had formed a Human Relations Commission at that particular time after Dr. King got killed when the riots over the country, burning down places. And I served on the Human Relations Commission for about 3 years. And I was forced to keep Clarksville from getting burned up, torn down. And after that, blacks were encouraged to vote. We had segregated voting, discriminating in voting. And I was appointed to the election commission in Montgomery County. I found out I was the first black in the state of Tennessee to serve on the election commission. And I registered more people in my tenure than anyone in Montgomery County. About 15,000 citizens, white and black.
Is that right? That's great.
So I found out the value of the ballot. I found that one vote didn't make a difference. I don't think we had well, we didn't have 5,000 registered voters at the time. I served from 1976, I think it is, to, I served 10 years. I went on in 1976, 86 to 96, 10 years. And that was an experience. Because I got to meet many of the governors, our legislators, and sort of how our government operated. Congressman, so.
Sound like you've accomplished a lot.
I did, and I'm still
Still going.
Still going, yeah.
Last page hadn't been written yet.
Still working.
Well, is there anything else that you want to say about Burt High School, or what it might have meant to you? I'm sure.
Yeah, it has meant quite a bit because it was an inspiration. I met a lot of pupils and friends in Burt. Most of my classmates, they're in their late 80s, and I don't think there were about 10, 12 of us still living, in my latest estimate I've given. And but we have a few, and but a lot of people made impression in the business field, in the military, the ministerial field, in fact every field you can think of, it, political field, they've made an impression, and sports field. Clarksville has been put on the map. It's a good city. It's we accomplished a lot of things. We got a lot of things that need to be accomplished, and but all the citizens need to do is get involved. And I find that we have this reunion, I think, about every 2 years now, because a lot of our members are dying out, and we give a scholarship to several people to qualify, because education is important. I value education. I see that I had 3 children in college at one time, and Austin P. I had a stick wife, but I made a sacrifice for them to go to school and to get an education. Yeah.
Try to do it.
History is important.